hello.
What's up? What's up?
What's
Good
up?
morning. Good
Good
Friday morning,
morning.
people. Good Friday morning. It's a
Yes,
great
yes.
one.
I was over here checking stuff. I was like, wait a minute. What you mean
Wait a minute,
waiting?
wait a minute, wait a minute. Yeah, that's a new
Good
reel for y'all
morning.
don't know. For y'all don't know.
Happy
That's the new.
Friday. Hold on. What's going on? Okay.
Oh
Happy
yeah, we got the
Friday,
music in
folks.
the background.
I know, right?
Yo, we got the novice producer over here. It's not Puffy yet. Don't worry. She working on
I
her
don't know. I ain't
Dr.
trying to
Dre.
be all up in the videos. Hold
Yeah,
on.
she
Hold
working on
on.
her Dr. Dre skills. She's still not the DRE yet. All right.
He's so shady. So shady.
Yeah, she's still
But
working on it.
yes, I need. Oh, wait a minute. Are we not live? Are we live?
Yeah, we live. I think I saw the
Okay.
live.
I
Wait a
thought
minute,
I
wait a minute,
did,
wait a
and
minute.
then I'm seeing it saying go live. Hold on. Let me go.
Oh yeah, we not live. I'm seeing my thing great.
No, it's saying yeah. Hold
Check
on.
on the thing.
Ooh, hold on.
Okay.
Restream
Wait a minute, wait
playing
a minute.
games out here.
Playing games
Hold
in these
on.
restream streets.
Ooh, child. We might have to redo this, but I don't think we can. All right. Oh, I can't because I can't get to. I
Yeah,
can't
we
get to
live.
the chat. Okay, it's
We
so
live.
odd.
We
Ah,
live.
Restream playing games out here. Well, I can't get to the
Exactly.
chat, so I know my chat buddy.
Well, mine's done like that. Mine's done like that the other night. I was doing my show, my authentic show, and it was coming up on my iPad, but it wasn't coming up inside the show. So people were still watching, but we are live, Cass. Thank
Okay, yes,
Cass. All right, we
thank you,
live. We live.
Cass. And
We live.
I knew I saw Gertrude come in, and I
Hey,
see
Gertrude, thank you for
Chandria.
joining us this morning,
Yeah, so
Sandra, as
thank
well.
y'all, thank y'all. But so we're gonna go forward. Let's push
I
forward
know
since
it's
we
live. We
are
live
live.
on YouTube. We live on
Okay,
YouTube. I just got the
so
notification.
awesome, awesome. So
Yes,
I
yes.
just wanted to get into it. This is our third installment, and we're going to talk about words today. And before we get into that, I wanted to definitely ask you, Carl, tell
Hmm?
the folks a little bit about what you have in plan because you're Mr. Vulnerability, and you're
Yes.
all out. You're all about making sure people are getting that transformation. And I know March is coming up, so that's a whole nother cohort getting ready to get together and
Yes.
get that work in.
Yes, we're about to enter into that work. This is March. This should be the third class I began doing. I don't really call it a class because it's just fun. It's excitement. I do put you through it. There's exercises to be done. It's the vulnerability transformation program, and that's what it is. I know I didn't come up with any. The fanciest name I came up with was the VTP. Get those acronyms, but it's what it is. It speaks to what it is, and a lot of times we try to put catchy names on things to try to draw people. But I really want people to understand that what this is involving. It's involving you embracing your vulnerability, and through embracing it, there's going to be a transformation, and that's what we seek to do with this. And we got exercises, and it starts the third cohort starts March the 7th, and we're excited about it, and we're excited about the ones that have came forth in the last 2 months that have just made dramatic changes to their no, we're not giving you 6 steps to get 7 figures. That's not what this is about. This is about empowering you to make better decisions, be an awesome leader, and to more develop the things that you left behind in your life living. So come and join us, carlsonwatkins.com/BTP. Registration is open. Classes start March 7th. We getting it in, guys. And we doing transformation. People are been coming through the course, and they've been saying that, man, I am a different guy. We're about changing the narrative. If you look at what transformation is doing things differently. We're not going through it the same way we were before. Whether that's looking for a job, whether that's being a good leader, whether that's being a good parent, whether that's being a good spouse, in all parts of your life, vulnerability is essential. So we're going to show you how to use that, how to integrate that strategically and intentionally, and take care of what you need. So that's what we got going on. Y'all come and see me.
Love that. Love that. And of
Yes.
course, I have my SOS sessions. That's for those quick one on one spots. You just need three top things that you need to fix ASAP. And I'll help get that through with you. And, hit me up at brooklyn.com/SOS because a lot of times we are working on things on our websites, in our businesses, and we're just going through the motions. We're not really sure. Is this working? Is this not working? Should I follow the trends? Should I not? And my whole thing is always don't follow the trends, but be on the lookout. know what's out there, but maybe whatever they're doing currently just isn't for you. So you don't have to be on top of everything, doing everything. It's just good to know what's out there, what's the possibilities that are awaiting for you. And I wanted to make sure as well to remind y'all we have our March series coming. We nailed it down. We know exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about vulnerability, making sure
See,
that you understand what it is. So we're going to have those understanding vulnerability moments led by Mr. Vulnerability himself. And I cannot wait to get that 4-part series because it's all about making sure we start changing the narrative of what vulnerability means and unveiling the power of embracing it. So that look out for that. Look out for this flyer. We're gonna start posting that. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. So let's get into today.
let's get into it.
And the myth buster for today is doing SEO for a website is complicated. Is it really? I think we always feel overwhelmed. We always feel like, yes, it's so hard, but it really isn't. It's about understanding what are you doing. It goes back to what we've been talking about all this time. Planning, 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 making sure that what you're doing is in alignment for what your overall business is. How do you want to support other people? And also, how do you want people to support you? Because maybe you want to down the line do a partnership, but you need to be clear about what this partnership is. So that's where words and showing up consistently and being consistent and how you speak and how you move on these online streets. That's how that really works. So being being complicated doesn't have to be when it comes to SEO. It's really planning it out. And what do you think? How have you been when it comes to the SEO world?
Man, it's been a learning, and it's actually just been learning the terms and marrying them together, right? Me being a writer, a lot of things that I write is really what I mean, so I'm more concise with that and getting out what I'm talking about because I write all the time. I'm always writing, whether it's legal writing, whether it's regular writing, website, scripture writing for church, whatever it is. I'm always writing, so I always have a method of getting things out. But the clarity and that I've really learned that I can be more specific. And this is what's key to the SEO foundation. A lot of people talking about it being complicated. If you really get into your mind, because I think we attack everything with, I know enough, I'll put some out, people understand. And I think
Mm,
those are the steps that people have in their mind because they think about, you always thinking of things that people know things like you know things, and that's absolutely false. And you take that on in your writing, whether subconsciously or not, you don't understand that you're writing these things. But as my mom and my grandma used to always say, make it where a 4 year old can explain it. You know what I'm saying? Make your things simple, make your things easy, give them the journey. I'm learning that so much as well, providing
mhm,
that journey through the SEO so people could get an understanding of what it is like to work with you, what it is like to what you're offering. And SEO is actually the gateway to that. Because if I'm connecting with your SEO, so is others. And they're bringing everybody along for the ride. So it's not complicated. It goes a lot with strategy, goes a lot with the content, goes a lot with pretty much what you want to say. Because a lot of times we're not really sure what we want to say, or what we're saying is not really meshing to what people can understand. And I think SEO is the greatest guide that we can have that can use that because it's just saying that what I'm saying should be matching what you're hearing, and what you're hearing should be matching what I got to offer. And that's how they should be working together.
amen. And I say that because that goes into our next conversation about why do words matter on your website. And I see Tisha and Rob. Thank y'all for dropping in.
Hey,
Rob
Sharon.
and
On
I
live
actually have
streets.
a course together where we're talking just about copy and layout for a website. And that's the website rehab.com, where you can really get into our brain and we'll help you out really understanding that. The words on your website, they can make or break you. They can drive traffic and keep it there, or drive people away where they don't even stay long because they're
Yes.
confused, they don't know what's going on. So your words matter, and it's part of you having a conversation on your website. You never want to leave people wanting for more. You never want them to come here and say, "Am I even in the right place?" They were talking all this good stuff on Instagram, and now I came to this website and I don't even know what's going on. Now they selling sweaters, but they were talking
Wow.
about they were talking about tech stuff or whatever. So it's like, what is going on over here? So the more complicated and confused you leave people, that's how they see you. They see you as confused. They see you as complicated, and they don't even want to be bothered. So you miss out on so much because your words aren't there. Or you might have like two sentences that aren't clear. They're not enough to really draw people in. So you want to make sure that your words are speaking to what it is that you want them to learn about you. It's not just about learning your audience and talking to them so you can make that quick money. It's about learning how to talk to them to show that you know what you're talking about. That's something else too that people forget. You have to prove that you know what you're talking about. No matter what people tell you, they want you to kind of prove yourself in some way, shape, or form. You say you are a coach. Show me how you coach. It's not only just about testimonials, because some testimonials can be really vague. They can say, "Oh my God, this person was amazing. They helped me improve my life." And you sitting here, if I'm the next client, I'm like, "Well, how did they help you? Is are you going through what I'm going through? Like, I don't get it." So yes, that's what you want to make sure when it comes to your website, that you're clear. And what
You want,
about you? How was your experiences with your site?
I was just going to say the same thing. You want to be able to do that because you know a lot. I remember horrible on this Super Bowl ad. He had a lot of commercials, a lot of companies having strange activities going on, and then at the end of the commercial, you'd be like, "Yo, that had nothing to do with Verizon, or that had nothing to do with Sprint, or whoever it was." They had the commercial. You couldn't align it with that, and a lot of times this is the way that people look at our sites. They see us maybe on lives, they see us on videos, they hear us talk about things, and the words and things that we talk about and the messages we kind of convey. And then when we have that one that's piqued or interested and say, "Oh, let me go see what they got on their page," and they go to the page and the wording doesn't match or the experience doesn't match. And this is something that I'm really learning in the essence of doing lives and talking to people and interviewing people and just being in this spectrum of being visible. People are taking away experiences, and those experiences are going to have to transfer to your website in a matter of words and taking them someplace. And those things are going to have to match. That is going to be the key to you being successful. And maybe it's not something that you just rub the magic genie and it's right away poof. But what it is that you're taking people on a journey. Someone has something to look forward to when they come to your place, and your words do that. The particulars in what you say, how you voice it, how you word it, how you put it together just correlates well with my experience of visiting your site. And it'll be a little bit better than just to click and leave. Because a lot of times we have those impressions that come on the site and you say, "What happened?" you know,
Yes.
it happens because they got lost in the journey. It was like Alice in
Mhm.
Wonderland. Everything, it just looked like a storm and everything was convoluted. So words are important. They do matter because it is about the experience and the journey.
Yes, and that's what you're doing. You're building a website that's a journey. You're building that's an experience. And I always go back to all these amazing sites that we love to go back to. Even if it's for something that we know we need these sites for a reason. Amazon, Disney for entertainment, Disney to book an excursion. If you have your favorite tour site that you like, you know what? I always go away for trips, me and my family, and I enjoy the experience that this company gives me when I book. I'm not stressed out. I know exactly where I need to go. Things like that. All of that is part of the customer journey that a lot of times we leave out, we forget, we miss because we're trying to throw something together. But even if someone tells you I did a site in 2 days and 2 hours, a lot of times those are planned out. Even if it's planned out in their head, it's planned out because they're thinking about everything, and content, written content, videos, all of that is part of that conversation. So you never want to forget about the experience. And that brings us into when you're actually building things out, you want to make sure that SEO is in everything that you create. And SEO, for those who don't know, because I
I'm
know we've been
sorry.
saying it,
Yeah.
it's search engine optimization. So it's not just Google. YouTube, yes, YouTube is Yahoo is still around. Yahoo is one. There are over a couple of dozen other search engines that most of us don't know about because we don't use them like that. There's DuckDuckGo. There's all these other sites that when you go there, they're either focused on something specific to help you search, or they're allowing for privacy mode because a lot of people, they know about tracking. They don't want to always be tracked. And believe it or not, if you're using Google Analytics, if you're using anything with Facebook Pixels, those are tracking devices.
Big Brother's
So
tracking.
those are tracking. So a lot of times people will use browsers to block those. And so you won't have complete pictures all the time of who's on your website because there are people coming to you through those type of browsers. But at the end of the day, the content itself, that's how you're getting found on these browsers as well. So it's all through the SEO. How are you formulating your titles? How are you formulating the actual paragraphs, the subparagraphs, the subtitles? All of those are part of the SEO process. And it doesn't have to be hard, like we said. If you planned out, most people, they say, I'm not a writer. You can write it, you can say something in a video, take audio, and then have that transcribed and just fix it up, giving them their titles, giving them their subtitles, all of those. And as well as your images, you have the alternative text that you will put in your images. And everything that you're creating, let's say it's a sales page, everything you're creating on that sales page should be circled and centered around a foundational keyword or key phrase. And all of that means what you're writing about should be correlated to a solution that somebody has been asking questions about. So that's where all the SEO conversations really come in. And I hear SEO thrown around a lot and nobody really explains why should you care. That's why you care. You want to be a part of the solution, the conversations that are already happening. You want to be a part of that. So you have to create the content, be it video, be it graphics, be it a whole blog or maybe a sales page, but you want all of that to tie into a conversation that is already happening. And if you're trying to start conversations around a specialized phrase that you're trying to start out, now that's going to be you populating the internet with more and as much of that conversation as possible, sharing that conversation on other people's blogs, sharing that on other people's sites. So then now you're being found more often. And people are saying, I hear you saying it a lot. Let me look this up. So that's where that comes in. That's how you can now formulate your own keywords and bring some buzz around those. What do you say?
That's definitely truth, and I like what you have on there. How to make your words powerful, uh, and a lot of things we don't really do, and I guess because I'm a researcher in mind, right? And we don't research
Mm,
because when I first decided to be a consultant and a coach, I never wanted to tag that word coaching on, and it was just a disconnect to me because everybody was coaching, and it wasn't so much that I thought I was better than everybody. It's just what I did was a lifestyle. I didn't consider it a coach. Coaches are interim. They are in your life for a certain period of time to develop and grow something that they need for that moment. And I just wasn't that dude. So it took me a lot to say, okay, I was a coach. But what I ask is that coaches can also be lifetime because they can go through you gradually. You may not have that same coach, but once you get
mhm.
past a certain point, someone else may pick up the mantle. So I took away my thought process with that, and I added that new to it. When you
Right.
saying the words that are powerful on your website, is just that: do the research in what you are doing, what you're thinking about doing, your entrepreneurial journey that you're thinking about making, what's making you different. Get those words to identify with you. Make sure they
Yeah.
correlate with you because words are powerful. That's the only information that people have to see about you. Excuse me, especially from the site of a website, because they have not interacted with you more than likely personally. They don't know you in the essence of saying, I can depend on this one. I can depend on Carl because I know Carl. No, that's not the case. My words have to draw you into me to give you that, and you gotta keep saying it, that experience to say, okay, I don't know this guy, but his words are so powerful that I got to give him a shot. I got to give him a chance. He's enticed me. Words do that to people, and we are emotional creatures, whether we're going to admit it or not. If I've read something to you that has moved me, I want to know more about you. If I've read an article, you a blog or whatever you have on your website that has enticed me and caught my attention, I want to know more from you. I want to know more about you, and then I
Yeah.
want to see from that point, oh, I got this issue. Maybe he can solve it because he's giving me all of these other things through words that are powerful and it's emotionally tugging at me. And these are the things that we have to curate, and SEO helps you curate those. But the research has to be done in that. You can't just say you're a poet and you're just gonna write something. I mean, most poets they write something favorable to heart and passion. So when you read their work, you can align their work with them. The same with your website. When I come to your website, I should feel that heart and passion that you have for doing whatever it is that you say you're doing. And if those things aren't matching, I wouldn't say failure is it, because you may get some people that just curiosity and say, oh, let me see what you're talking about because this sounds confusing. Let me see what you're talking about. But they not in the moment of buying, or they not in the moment of taking that journey. And I think this is where we have to really understand how powerful what we say is. Even if I go scriptural real quick and I give it back, death and life is in the power of the tongue. So that lets you know how powerful words are with things that you say. So it's critical that your words be powerful on your website.
Come on now.
I'm
And
done. I'm done. Y'all put it in the cash app. I'm putting my cash app in there. 'Cause I'm preaching this morning.
I'm seeing a lot going on in the chat. I can't see all of the conversations
Oh yeah, I
because for
forgot you can't
whatever
see this.
reason
Man, they blowing up. They blowing up.
Restream is acting a fool, so I can't see a lot of that. My
Yolanda, thanks for
apologies.
coming by. I got to get holler out to Yolanda Chen. She's been a supporter of mine for a long, long time. Thank you for coming by, dear. Love to see you. Carla is
Love
in the
it.
chat. Robin's blowing up the chat. Tish is blowing up the chat. Elizabeth is blowing up the chat. Man, we just getting it in. They just talking about how powerful these words are. Rob said
Beautiful.
words are
So
powerful.
look out for your side. I'm trying to look on my side if there's any
Yes,
questions. But
I'm
we're gonna
looking.
dive into because you started a conversation about about the vulnerability and the conversations that you're having. So that's another thing. You want to be vulnerable in how you're speaking on your site. And it doesn't mean, and we're like I said, we'll talk about this in March, where it doesn't mean that you're pouring your heart out in everything that you're writing, or it's an emotional thing because maybe your business doesn't call for that. But what it is you being truthful, you being honest about your journey, you being honest about what can you do. Because a lot of times people puff and huff and they give all these overdrawn promises. They do all
Whew.
these 40 different services that they
Uh,
can't provide. And it's like it's okay if you can if you do one thing, make that one thing shine on your site. Make
shine.
that one thing powerful enough that people are like, wow, yes, this is what I need. Right? Because at one point, we used to go to Amazon for books. We weren't going to Amazon for nothing but books
Yes,
because
sir.
Amazon was about to take out everybody else. So we didn't have to go into the stores. So we wanted to have the book shipped to us. And that's what we went to them for. Books, plain and simple. But the more you start doing things that's out of your realm, out of your comfort zone, and we're going to talk about staying in your lane in a little bit, but you want to make sure that what you're doing on your site is allowing you to shine, and it's allowing you to be truthful in what you're doing. So you want people to meet you where you are too, just like how you're going to meet them where they are. And the way that I speak here on my videos, in my content, I want to be able to be free enough to speak like that on my website because we have so many other places that kind of limit us, that tells us what to do, that tells us how to behave. So why create a website that you can't behave the way you want to? All because you looking to appease other people that may not even be a fit for you. So it's about really understanding not only who you are, but who do you want to be with? Who do you want to serve? Who do you want to have as part of your community? So that's where being vulnerable in your speech on your website, on your domain, on where you rule, your playground is going to be pivotal in how you can move on this website. The stuff that you create, the way you write, the way you use your SEO powers, that's all going to be really how you make that shine. Oh, wait a minute. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening on your video? Hold on.
My video? Whoa, whoa, whoa! What's going on? My video looking good. I see it.
Is it okay? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna
I
take
see.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm looking good.
because
I'm looking.
on my way, I'm seeing a lot going on over here. But okay,
Yeah, that's that fire raining down from when I was talking.
but so part of that. And do you what do you want to speak on? Being
Man,
vulnerable in your speech, because I know you do a lot of blogging as well.
yes, I do blogs and I do articles. I have way more, but I got like 42 articles or so that's on LinkedIn. All of them can connect the dots through vulnerability. I don't write about anything else, and I don't talk about that. They connect the dots in vulnerability and vulnerability in leadership. That's my expertise. That's what I say on my LinkedIn profile. That's
Hmm.
what I do. The space I do it in, I curate that in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space because it's more applicable there, and a lot of people gets the understanding of that for cultures of workplaces. So my work all speaks to that, and it speaks with the vulnerability of stories, lessons, overcoming, and things that have happened to me that I've overcame, and things that I've went through, adversities, good things, not always bad, because vulnerability brings about some good things through some things that I've learned. And in the speech of that, people want to know that because stories are important, and I'll get to a little bit of that more when we start my series in March about vulnerability and understanding it. Stories are very important, and though we may not put such weight on what we've been through, others need that example of what we've been through so they can also come through, and being able to come across with that in your speech and being able to articulate that to someone else, their ears need to hear that. And I always say that someone needs what you have, and regardless of whether you ran into that individual or not, that's yet to be seen. But someone that has been in a situation or are in a situation because of what you speak to them, being vulnerable, being able to say, okay, you know what, I've been through that. It's not a shame. It's not a judgment. Mistakes happen. Mistakes are applications for learning. That's all mistakes are. So when you make a mistake, you put in your application to learn, right? And from that learning should be some application to do. Those what mistakes teach us. So if we stop the mindset of creating that I don't make mistakes, you're ridiculous and you're only frauding yourself. Everybody does. But if you're able to engage in that, be vulnerable in that, let others know about that, then in essence, that someone else will get empowered and say, you know what? Yeah, Carl made that mistake and this is what he did. Yeah, let me try that. That might help me out. But I can only tell you that if I'm being vulnerable in how I'm speaking to you. I can only tell you that if I'm being able to let some things off that's not so great, that don't shine so bright on me. And I think this is what's the importance of being vulnerable in your speech.
Yes, and part of that too, the way you can be vulnerable is when you what? Stay in your lane.
Oh, you gotta
Focus
stay in
on
your lane.
topics that you're strong in. I
Yes.
see that a lot. And I struggled from it at one point because I was not sure how to talk about tech. I used to be super techie. My first book on Amazon, which I would say a little surprising because I didn't put no effort into this book, but it was a
See,
bestseller.
vulnerable in her
It was a
speech.
bestseller, but I didn't put any effort into it because I didn't know. I didn't even want to write a book. But my first business coach was like, "Girl, write a book, and it's gonna be your business card." And I got the concept behind it, but because my energy and my spirit wasn't into it, I was like, "Eh, let me just do something."
Wow, wow.
So I put it together. It was very techy, but it was techy, and I realized it was techy because a friend of mine who supported me, she got my book, and I was like, "Girl, you don't tell me nothing about the book. What's going on?" She was like, "Girl, I got into that first chapter, and honestly, I didn't understand what you were talking about." And I was like, "Really?" And so having her um letting me know like, "Look, I get it, but you were super techy." So I was like, okay. So part of me staying in my lane was I know nothing about marketing books. I knew nothing about really writing a book. So what did I do to help me focus on the topic that I love, which was web design, branding? I went to a person who could help me, and that was a whole community of self publishers, and they helped me not only write a better book, my second book, which was also a bestseller, and that one was quicker, so I was proud of that one. But they helped me write that one, and then they helped me be able to speak on what I loved without it being over complicated and over techy. So I didn't have to focus on how to write a book and how to make it market better, because I had people helping me do that part. I just had to focus on what I knew. So I stayed in my lane on that. And then when I was done, I didn't put the book together. I went and I hired someone to put the book together. I hired someone to get the cover together for me. So I stayed in my lane and I allowed other people to help me. So that's where I say, if you creating a website, you want to make it powerful, you want to make that punch, stay in your lane, understand how you're going to speak to people, focus there. Focus on what you want to talk about on the site. But maybe you're not great at writing. Maybe you're not great on making the SEO better and improving on that. So hire people to help you. Hire people to help you write the blogs. Maybe you're not a writer. So you don't want to blog all day. You don't want to blog all week. You don't want to blog for a month. That's cool. Give that content that you wrote or that you did a podcast on, because maybe you're better at podcasts. So give all your podcast episodes to somebody and let them help you create blog posts out of that. Let them help you do that, but stay in your lane. So it allows you to be that superpower person in your strength, and you want to make sure that it comes across as that too.
Yes, stay in your lane. Uh, this is a topic that I dealt with way before I ever was visible to anyone on this platform. I think it's essential. It is your zone of genius, of which so many people is currently just really is put as their moniker.
Hmm.
I just call it minding your business. Just get down to it. It just goes straight down to the simple nitty gritty of it. If you minding your business, people will come to your business because they know what you do. I can't tell you, I can't go in there and tell no CEOs or anyone to give any kind of advice on anything that I have no qualifications on. And this is
Hmm.
what I think my friend Doreen done a post yesterday, and she was talking about how, I mean, she really was just saying lies. She was on Instagram doing a reel, and she was like, people be embellishing in in the things that they know. It's only embellishment is only a part time job, so you're going to get no wages. So that's only just saying it. Yeah, you're doing it. It's making you shine for the moment, which is part time. But eventually, you're not going to get wages because people are going to find out you don't know what you're talking about. So when you stay in your lane and you focus on things that you're strong in, that's just creating your strength. You're coming from a place of strength at that point. Why would you want to operate from any other place? If you're at that place and you can stay and focus on the things that you're good at, you'll continuously thrive in those and you'll set yourself apart in that arena. And this is why I don't understand why people couldn't have 1,000 things on their site, or they create so many different ways for you to do things. And it sort of becomes like McDonald's serving breakfast at lunchtime. I mean, come on, you're a burger spot. You know what I mean? How are you going to create and be fantastic in what you're doing? That's why they have such issues with their customer service, because I think they've just stretched themselves too far out to be able to stay in a lane with which they were good at: burgers, fries, and steaks. Right? That's what we really know McDonald's for, and that's just an example that I oftentimes use even in my training. Sometimes we have to understand that we're good in this. I don't care about zone of genius. That's a term for the ages. That's a term that someone made up. That's a cliche that somebody made up. You may not be a genius in that zone, but that zone is what you've been perfecting, what you've been cultivating, what you've been watering. The seeds is growing there. Why not stay there, be good there, and move forward? And I think that's really what staying in your lane does for you. It gives you the strength. It gives you the power to present it. It gives you power to talk about it. It gives you confidence in how you perform it because
Hmm.
it's my lane. It's what
Yeah.
I do.
Yes. So I just wanted to go back over the three things that we wanted to talk about today. And it was about, include SEO in everything you create, from video to written text to the audio, the podcast that you do, because everything is still going to generate online. So you want people to find it, but you want them to find it because they're either talking about it already or you got them talking about it. So you want to make sure that SEO is in everything you do. So start planning it out. Start figuring out what those topics are going to be that you're going to talk about, and then get vulnerable about it. Be vulnerable about how you speak to people, and then allow them to know the person that they see on this video. You're gonna meet me on Zoom. That's the if we meet in person, that's the person you're gonna meet in person. You're
Catch
not
me
gonna see me in a
outside. I'm the
suit.
same person. Catch me outside. Catch me
Unless it's a
outside.
funeral, you not seeing me in a suit, honey. Let's just keep it
Wow.
100. Even for church, I stretch and I barely
Wow.
go because I go where friends tell me to go. But
Wow.
other than that, you not
That's
seeing me in
it.
a
That's
suit. I'm
it.
not
That's it.
comfortable in suits. Do I look good in suits? Of course. Can
Oh,
I buy
wow.
a suit all day? Yes. Are they in my closet? Yes. But that's not how you're going to meet me on a day to day. Some people thrive in suits. So my whole thing about this is be vulnerable about who you are and be ready to show up as that person. That allows people to get to know you, and then you in turn get to know them. And of course, stay in your lane when you're doing these things. Focus on your strength. That way you when you start to talk to people, you become more confident because you know what you're talking about. And then also stay on top of it too. A lot of times we're in these industries that are changing. They're changing all the time. Things are changing. The practices are changing. Sometimes the foundation is the same, but the name of what they do is different. I don't go with all that. Just like you say, it's all fandango. If we're talking about blogging, we talking about blogging. Don't tell me about nothing else. If the topic is blogging, don't give it a new name to make it sound fancy. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, I'm going to know that's what you're talking about because you know how it is. Somebody's talking about a tie, but they gave it a new name, and they said, "Oh, look at that beautiful thing around your neck," and then you looking at them like, "You mean this tie?" So, so, so it's like let's just know what's going on, but at the end of the day, let's not call a chicken a duck if it's really a chicken. So we just want to know what it is that we're doing. Stay in lane, focus on what you're strong at, but also stay on top of what's going on in your industry. And at the end of the day, just know it's about the experience. It's about the journey. That's why we're doing these mini series because we want you to really understand it's about understanding the core foundation. So even if you're hiring people, you working with me, you working with Carl, you understand what the foundational stuff is because this is what we're going to talk about. Once you get to one-on-one with us, this is what we talk about. We break these things down. So what's the point of going through this whole big hoopla of all this extravaganza kind of stuff and you haven't done the foundational work? Then you're frustrated, other people that you hire frustrated because you have not done the foundational. And I realized that. That's why strategy has been so important to me because folks will start doing web design. They'll start looking for a designer when they need a developer. They'll get a developer when they truly need a designer. They need something basic, but they're being told or sold something complicated. It's all about understanding what is your ultimate strategy, because if your business has a plan, your website needs a plan. It's part of your marketing. People don't realize that. Your website's part of marketing. Yes, you're selling stuff, but it's marketing you. It's marketing your business and ultimately your brand. And your brand is not your business.
Yeah. It's,
That's a whole nother topic. But
yeah, it's two
yes,
totally different things. They're definitely not your business. And we've
yes.
done this series, and we'll be continuing doing these series. These series are really vulnerable for us because we're breaking down. Not only are we breaking down how it is to work with us, we give you a sneak peek into how we are. So it's essential. Those that are watching, essential. If you don't think about us when you're doing the things website or building that vulnerability where it impacts you and make you more confident and build your self-esteem to create the life you want to. If you're not into that, we're making it where an audience can be curated with what we have. And this is a journey that we're taking on, and it's designed for that. Of course, will it be designed for that, for us to draw in clients? Absolutely. That's the end goal. But the end goal of it also is that we provide value for you in the essence of understanding the things that we're going to be talking about. They're applicable in your business across the board. And though we
Mhm.
may highlight vulnerability and we may highlight the structure of life and being authentic, and we may highlight websites and strategies and SEO and words, all of these things are applicable in life lessons. and this is what we continue to curate, and this is what these moments and these series are bound to do. And in that, we hope that you take away the things that can make you better. That's all what it's about. It's all
Yes.
about making a better you.
Yes, and the next and last installment of this series, the site strategy moments, we're going
Yes.
to talk about vulnerability. We're going to talk about more in depth about writing these things out, making the words really jump off and making that vulnerable connection. And we're going to go in depth for that because, of course, we've been talking about it. March is going to be the vulnerability time. That's where we're
Yes.
going to have our nice 4-part mini series about understanding vulnerability moments. So start looking out for that. We're going to start posting those dates. It's going to be the same Friday at 9. 30-minute conversation where we're going to try to keep it 30 minutes because the last
This is
two we've
juicy.
been diving in. And I wanted to thank those who've been coming in.
Yes.
Uh,
Appreciate you.
Restream has been acting us. I could not show everybody's comments. I've been bouncing between different pages to look and like and try to respond. But definitely thank you guys for coming through, and y'all help make these series successful. We
Absolutely.
just tried to wing it like we do. You know me. I,
You,
I
yeah,
wing it.
yeah.
And last minute, I was like, "Hey, Carl, how about this?" And he was like, "Sure." So not only have they been successful, you guys have been resonating. So that's why March we have a series where Carl is going to take the realm, and I'll be the sidekick on that one. Thank you, Lord. I'll be the sidekick watching that one to pop off. But I cannot wait to dive deeper into the vulnerability aspect of life and of business and learning how we can do better. And thank you all. We about to cut out and we will catch y'all next Friday.
Next Friday. See you here.
Okay. I think we're still